set the foundation up in 2008 to be, and I never really set it up as a foundation. Anyone who knows my story, my mother was a huge influence in my life, and on her deathbed I said I'd do two things, and that was to win the Hawaiian Ironman and to win the Olympics. And she passed away only 3 months before the Sydney Olympics, and I never got to race the games. I was just devastated. And I went and had this wonderful career, and I got married. I had 2 daughters of my own, and I remember winning the Ironman in Hawaii, and I thought it was the crowning moment of my career. It was an amazing race win, and I sat back at the resort, 3 or 4 hours after the event, and I was watching my 2 daughters play, and I had this element of this feeling of disappointment that my mother wasn't there to share this, And at that point, I'd feel like I climbed the Everest of my sport. I went on to continue winning, but I wanted to do something more than it being just about me. So what I felt robbed of was that this disease that I had not really thought about much until my mother got breast cancer had robbed an opportunity of my children to experience an amazing woman, and for her to see her son fulfill his dream. So at that point in time, my wife and I were just talking, and we just thought as a family, as we travelled around the world, we'd raise money and awareness for this disease, and we set ourselves a target of $2,755,950. People are going to go, why that number? And I said, look, my mother was alive for 19,375 days, and I do 140.6 miles in an Ironman. So the family task, in that sense, was to try and raise $140.6 for every day my mother was alive, just in honour of her memory. And it was not about creating a big foundation or being a Livestrong or something big. It was just a family thing to do. So we set about on doing that. And as I travelled around the world, we would just donate money and raise money and go and speak at functions and donate the money to certain charities around the world. And we achieved that in 2010. We hit our goal as a family. For me, it was just to do something more than, athletes are very, very selfish, and sometimes they do things like create foundations because it's good for their brand, but it was never that case for me, and it's why it's always been so unassuming, and now people hear that we raise so much money, they're like, why didn't you get on television and tell people about it? So it was never about that. The proudest moment of my life as an athlete and a father was I was in Singapore, and we'd done this big fitness day. I'd won a race, and we'd raised about $35,000. Not a lot of money but I'd done all this thing and engaged all these women to come to Fitness First, and we were doing spin classes. And that night we went with a check for $36,000, and my youngest, or my eldest daughter was probably 8 at the time, and she walked up on stage with me and donated this money to the Cancer Foundation of Singapore, the breast cancer. And she said, this is from my nanny, which is my mother. I nearly cried. I was like, this is a woman my daughter never met, and I just thought, I'm doing this for all the right reasons. So it was pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool.